Well, good morning, everybody. We're back over here, Robertson, the 220, and I am going to run the skitter this morning. And I say run it because I'm not a skitter operator, but we got about 10 grapple-fulls of logs in the way, and I need to drag them out of the way so that we can continue to stump. So I've already got the crash course on this thing. Should be interesting. And yeah, let's watch me struggle to pick up some logs here. That should definitely be interesting here. This seat is definitely unique. See, hydraulics, park brake, drive, and away we go. It's kind of hard to see out of this thing. And away we go. We need more throttle. That's what he failed to tell me, the throttle. It's like, why is this thing so slow? Oh yeah, this is I can see so much. Well, that's enough skitter fun for today. I'm gonna go up here and show you what I accomplished so we could continue working this weekend. Looks like Robert's gonna take the rake off and put the bucket back on. I had him going down that wood line and trying to pull out that bamboo, and that is some aggravating stuff to clean up with that rake just because the tines are so far apart. The rake's great for raking up sticks and brush and everything, but trying to grab a 1-inch piece of bamboo, a little difficult. So we'll use the bucket, and that'll be able to pinch it a little bit easier and get that out. So I drug all this up here this morning to open up the back there so we can go ahead and stump that. It's actually a fair amount of wood for my non-skitter operating self. I'm right happy with myself. All right, back into 350. So now that I drug all those trees out of the way, I can now stump this lower section right here. Get all that done, we'll make another burn pile back here. So working on getting some of these stumps dug up. Try to open up an area. We'll do another burn pile back here. I went and looked at the flags, and there's a lot more over there in the bamboo than I was expecting. But we'll rip it out and make the best of it. We'll end up with a lot of dirt and roots. We'll probably have to dig a hole somewhere and bury, get rid of those, but let's see how that goes. I got Robert over there with the 220 working on that. Sleepy. While I work on this. Probably should have tried to run through here with the dozer and push some of this brush up, but I'm just kind of raking it out of the way with the stumper here. It's not too terribly bad. Rake it with the dozer before we make the burn pile there and kind of level it up a little bit. Get a little more of these sticks and roots out. Probably be after lunch, so I'll give it a little bit more time to dry out, and it just rakes a lot better. Get a little sun on it, dry that dirt out. It's all pretty much clay and pretty sticky at that. Coming off the stumps quite as good as it was yesterday. Alright, I'm going to keep digging these things up. Just want to take this pine tree down and then that gnarly oak tree right there. Get this opened up. Then we're going to go to lunch. I'll probably put the grafter rake on when I get back. I've got everything stumped over there, and we just need to kind of clean up everything and work on that, clearing that bamboo. So I'm going to try to use the excavator this time, see how well that works. If not, might jump back on the dozer and see how well that works. Timber! Falls over. I have a feeling it should fall over relatively easy. Those old things are about probably rotten on the inside. Hopefully it won't put up too much of a resistance. Give it a little nudge and see what happens. Not a whole lot. Well, I got the attachment that will make something happen. Was a good route. Alright, let's see what happens now. Dang. Still don't want to fall over. Get up a little higher and get a little more leverage. Oh, now we're breaking. It was rotten. Timber! Oh yeah. Look how rotten that thing was. There was about 6 inches of tree left holding. Alright, well I'll break that up and we'll get that put in the burn pile. So I got the grafter rake back on the 350 here. I'm going to grab some of this stuff and stack it into a burn pile. Then we'll start Doing a little more clearing over there. I'm gonna grab the top of this oak tree that I took down, pile it up. It fell over a pile of stumps, so gotta work between them. They need to sit out and dry a little bit longer, get a little bit more dirt off of them. being rotten, I could break it in half. Probably not. That seemed a little violent. So I get this picked up and put in the burn pile. It's going to take 4 days for this to burn up. good grab on it. I'm afraid with all that on one tine, it might bend one of the tines on the grapple. Oh, we're tipping over because I don't think it's quite meant for this. Well, Robert has a lot to pick through now and add to the pile. We'll grab this little bit right here and go over here and see how well this thing clears bamboo. Might end up on the dozer again, plowing through it. See how this goes. Bamboo clearing is interesting. You pretty much just have to take a big chunk out of the ground and then kind of pick it up, drop it, and get the dirt out of it, because this stuff has a big root mat to it and it's very brittle. Bamboo is strong until it breaks. I didn't realize it until yesterday how much water is actually in bamboo, until I was breaking through it with the dozer. I was like, why do I keep getting wet? Then I remembered it stores water inside of itself. Definitely got a lot of dirt to shake out, but it's clearing it. The dozer's faster, but this is definitely a little more organized and not quite so chaotic. And I'm probably doing a better job because I think the dozer was trying to break a lot of it off at the ground. mucking through here and piling this up, and Robert will come through here and sort through it with the 220 and the rake and stack it on the burn pile. But we're going to call it a wrap for today. Was able to get all of this cleared and piled up. You remember we started, pretty much all this was logs all the way back first thing this morning. I skidded all those up there and came in here and stumped this whole section. Robert worked on that bamboo, and then I kind of finished clearing that. We just spent the last 30 minutes shaking all the dirt out of it. I don't know what we're going to do with all that mess. Probably just dig a hole and bury it somewhere. And got a nice burn pile piled up there now. Took down those couple of trees and straightened up the line a little bit. You can see that there's a real old house over here in the woods. I think that's pretty cool. I saw it when we were out here walking that day, flagging everything, but I'll probably come in here with the 220 and pluck out a little bit more of that, kind of clean that up, straighten this property line up a little bit. But it's a pretty cool little house. If I don't fall in an old well out here somewhere. Been here a while. But this bamboo is something else. I guess somebody decided it was a good idea to plant it a long time ago, and it has completely taken over everything. You gonna take some bamboo home with you?
No.
All right, we'll see you back next week. I think Robert wants to race. See if the 350 or the 220 is faster. Pretty neck and neck. I think he's got me by just a little bit. Where's the D6? Let's not run over the D6. I think he's a little faster. I just grab him and stop him. Ah! All right, we'll see y'all next week.